Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles of great moonstone that surely do rule well. Salutation to each and every one of the Akim that push this gospel out there in sincerity and truth. This is Brother Lamad from Trinidad coming to do another video through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Right, hoping that this video will be edifying towards the hopeful elect of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, those who believe in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, because at the end of the day, we are out here for the elect. All right, and the elect only. All right, and this video based off a TikTok and certain conversations, all right, that they have, or TikToks that I saw with few people calling the Bible evil. They should get rid of it. As you could see, I can't remember which nation it is. I think they basically banned the Bible. I think it's in one of those Asian countries or something, so they banned the Bible. All right, and a lot of Negroes themselves will basically agree with that, right? Because it's the same Negroes that are calling the Bible evil. They say the slave masters use the Bible, to enslave all people, right? That scripture that say servants will be your masters. Let me get that. Which a lot of Jake this day will take that to heart. Colossians 3 verse 22, servants obey in all things your masters according to the flesh, not with eye service as men pleasers, but in singleness of heart, fearing the Most High power. All right, so a lot of people will say this is one of the main precepts that they use for us in slavery, which they did because they know that we are God-fearing people. We came over here fearing God. A lot of our people also was Muslims, or whatever the cases, and they basically beat us into subjugation. All right, but other than that, the Bible, because really and truly it's just all that the scriptures trying to teach. And at the end of the day, we deserved what we went through because we disobeyed the laws of God. All right, matter of fact, we not the avenue I really wanted to go down, but matter of fact, instead of Deuteronomy, let me get it in Leviticus 26. All right, I'll start at verse 3. Alright, Leviticus 26 verse 3. It says, if you walk in my statutes and keep my commandments and do them, then I will give you rain in due season, and the land shall yield her increase, and the trees of the field shall yield their fruit. And your threshing shall reach unto the vintage, and the vintage shall reach unto the sowing time, and you shall eat your bread to the full, and dwell in your land safely. And I will give peace in the land, and ye shall lie down, and none shall make you afraid. And I will rid evil beasts out of the land, neither shall the sword go through your land. And ye shall chase your enemies, and they shall fall before you by the sword. And 5 of you shall chase 100, and 100 of you shall put 10,000 to flight, and your enemies shall fall before you by the sword. For I will have respect unto you, and make you fruitful, and multiply you, and establish my covenant with you. Alright, hold on. Alright, so select about that, right? So basically, what the Lord here is basically saying, he's making an agreement with us, right? And the agreement he was making was basically by we walking in his ways, right? Because he's supposed to be a husband unto us with his laws, statutes, and commandments. Alright, so the Lord say, hey, basically if you walk in my way, my laws, my statutes, and commandments, and my ways, alright, I'm going to bless you all, and I'm going to increase you all. But we did not do that. Alright, we went against him, and these are some of the blessings and the agreements that he made with us in Mount Horeb or Mount Sinai. Alright, and ye shall eat old store and bring forth the old because of the new, and I will set my tabernacle among you, and my soul shall not abhor you. And I will walk among you, and will be your God, and ye shall be my people. But we didn't walk with the Lord Yahweh Hashem El Shai. This is why we ended up in captivity in our enemy's land. You understand? In the first place, Satan does really send these. Laugh until it's used, right? Can't, right? Verse 14, but if ye will not hearken unto me, I will not do all these commandments. And if ye shall despise my statutes, or if your soul abhor my judgments, which we did. You understand? And right about now we're showing it because the Bible is written in a specific way. But the first 5 books is known as the Tanakh. Not the Tanakh Salak, the Torah, which is the laws of the Most High. Right? As the guy told me yesterday, Bible, which is not the meaning of the word Bible. Bible goes back to the Latin Biblios, which means collection of book. But the acronym that they give to it, Bible, B-I-B-L-E, basic instructions before leaving earth, will be a proper fit in the sense of the Most High actually give us instructions to do while we are on earth. You understand? And if ye shall despise my statutes, or if your soul abhor my judgments, so that ye will not do all my commandments, right? Another word for commandment is laws, but that ye break my covenant, I will also do this unto you. I will even appoint over you terror, consumption, and the burning ague, and shall consume the eyes and cause sorrow of heart, and you shall sow your seed in vain, for your enemies shall eat it. And this happened to us in slavery, and even when we are still in the land of Israel. And I will set my face against you, and ye shall be slain before your enemies. They that hate you shall reign over you, and ye shall flee when none pursueth you. And this happening down to this day in the sense of the Moabites, which are the Chinese are ruling over us, the East Indians are ruling over us, the Syrians, the Muslims, the so-called white man ruling over us, right? We below, and these other nations are above. You understand? And we are the most talented nation. If we have a skill or a talent, the other nations actually benefit off of that. They actually sell us, right, to make their profit. You know, they say we go and run. All right, we make some kind of music or whatever the case is, or some kind of instrument. All right, we have to go to them for marketing or whatever the case is, where they make a bulk of our talent, right? Our enemies are ruling over us. And if you will not yet for all this hearken unto me, then I will punish you 7 times more for your sins, and I will break the pride of your power, and I will make your heaven as iron and your earth as brass. Which meaning what? Things gonna be hard. And the only nation that things are exact, that is really tough on, is us. Because guess what? Just to go for a loan or just to go for certain things, all right, it is hard for us to actually come out of the line of poverty. We always have to depend on their food stamps, the welfare, the certain what it is, this the SNAP benefits and thing that, you know, that they have to take away. The government give you this, and it's easy for it to take it back. You have to, and a lot of our women actually depend on these so-called social welfare plans, whatever the case is. For us to come out of that line of poverty is very hard. And even if we do, by some kind of skill or talent we have, whether it's running, basketball, football, whatever the case is, they are the ones that are marketing us, all right, and making the bulk money. If we invent something, whatever the case is, they are the ones that are actually making the mass majority of the money, that they could even sue us for our own thing. You understand? All of that. You understand? But the laws of the Most High are good, and we forsook the Most High and forsook ourselves by turning to that evil way. So how then can we say the laws of Yahweh Hashem El Shai is evil? And that is why the whole world is corrupt right about now. Matter of fact, let me go quick into the wisdom of Solomon. All right, let me go quick into wisdom of Solomon chapter 6 and verse 1, because we once was ruling the earth. Matter of fact, no, let me go first to Deuteronomy 4 and verse 6 around there. Deuteronomy 4. Matter of fact, I'll start at 4. Right? I will start at 4. Right? Deuteronomy 4:4. But ye that did cleave unto Yahweh your power are alive, every one of you this day. right? Those are the ones that went through the wilderness and was obeying the voice of Yahweh Shem El Shai through Moses, all right? Verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgment, even as Yahweh my power commanded me that you should do so in the land whether ye go to possess it. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. You understand? So the Lord was basically making us above and closest to him because of what? He was teaching us the ways of wisdom, the fear, how to fear him. All right, and nobody could get close to Yahweh Shem El Shai, which is the ultimate supreme entity in the whole universe, or whatever the case you may call it. You understand? He's actually making us closest to him. As the scripture says, some nations he set aside, but he drew the children of Israel close unto himself. All right, it says keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations. Right, so we basically became gods, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. For what nation is there so great, who had the Most High so nigh unto them, as Yahweh our power is in all things that we call upon him for? Hey, and that even goes back to the blessing in Isaiah. Before we even pray for something, the Most High going and bless us for it. And this is what we need right about now. Because guess what? We will work hard out here just to achieve something, and guess what? Within 2 2s it goes down the drain. As the Calypsonian here in Trinidad sing the mighty the so-called mighty sparrow, right? Education is the key, right? Without it you're better off dead. But the principal thing is wisdom, and with all I get understanding. Education really actually is nothing, because we have seen people with education that is this vagrants on the road, that's selling drugs, that's selling weed. They cannot get a proper government work, no matter how hard they work. While we see people, because of their skin color or their ethnicity, all right, they're not even as intelligent or as brilliant as us, as Negro children, but yet they are CEOs. They own they own a business, or have some high profile in some kind of business, or whatever the case is in the government. And they're pulling a good salary. They're making it so-called legally without an education. And we who have a so-called education, a degree, a diploma, some kind of big title towards our name, a doctorate, some of us have to be in drugs, or whatever the case is. We can't even get a loan or whatever. A time and chance actually happens to everyone, but it's who the Most High Yahweh Shem El Shai decide to have mercy upon also. Right? So it's no matter how hard you work. Alright? It says, for what nation is there so great, who had the Most High so nigh unto them, as our power is in all things that we call upon him for? And what nation is there so great, that hath statutes and judgment so righteous as all this law which I set before you this day? Alright? And guess what? We went against that. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 6 and verse 1. Right? This also applies to Esau, Edom this day. But really, actually, we are the main ones at fault. Right? Because we trimmed our ways to seek love from these other nations. We went and started to worship their idols, their gods. So don't say the Bible is an evil book. We were the ones that was evil. The so-called white man, and the Most High still set it up in a way that what? Our knowledge, right? The book of our ancient knowledge would still be near unto us, but the so-called white man used it as a weapon against us. Knowledge is a very powerful thing. You could use knowledge for good, and you could use knowledge for bad. That is why they didn't want us reading the book in the first place. It was punishable by death for us to read the Bible, right? Wisdom of Solomon chapter 6 and verse 1. Hear therefore, O ye kings, and understand. Learn, ye that be judges of the ends of the earth. We are the judges, because we are the ones who the Most High Yahweh Shem El Shai give the eternal laws, the laws of life, as it says in Ecclesiasticus chapter 17 around verse 17. The Most High gave us the laws of life. This was basically his words are the trees of life. You understand? And it is also written in the stars, but the Most High take that knowledge away from us. Alright? It says, give ear, ye that rule the people, and glory in the multitude of nations. And when did that happen? That happened back in the time of David, in the time of King Solomon, when we were ruling the earth and back in that time, which were also known as the first dark ages. Alright? It says, for power is given you of the Lord, and sovereignty from the highest, who shall try your works and search out your counsel. Because being ministers of his kingdom, ye have not judged aright, nor kept the law, nor walked after the counsel of the Most High power. So right about now, what we see in the world today is the fact that the laws of God is not being established. Right? They will have you swear on the Bible in a court, but yet judge you not of the laws of the Most High. So the whole world is corrupt because none of the governments of the world is actually keeping the laws of the Most High God. Alright? For mercy will soon pardon the meanest, but mighty men shall be mightily tormented. Alright? For he which is Lord over all shall fear no man's person, neither shall he stand in awe of any man's greatness, for he hath made the small and great and cared for all alike. So the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahshai is coming to judge the earth. But judgment going on first begin at the house of Yahweh Hashem Yahshai, which is us, the Negroes, Latinos, and natives, because the laws were written in our hearts at the end of the day. Our consciousness is supposed to beat us when we're doing the wrong thing. Alright? But now the government or the rulership of the earth is translated from one people to the other because of our unrighteous dealings. Right? And it came to Esau Edom. Right? The so-called white man. But yet they themselves ain't dealing properly. So the kingdom going and return back unto us, because through the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach, alright, we are being cleansed. We are learning the laws of Yahweh Hashem Yahshai with perfect understanding. Alright? This is Isaiah 24 and verse let me start at verse 3. Alright? This is Isaiah 24 verse 3 to verse 6. The land shall be utterly emptied and utterly spoiled, for Yahweh hath spoken this word. And why Yahweh has spoken this word, let me go ahead, right? Because that is what we see going on the earth right about now. And this is just to prove, right, as the conversation, I didn't get to finish that point with the guy yesterday on work, because he was mentioning about free will, right? But he was correct, because he was even talking about Judas Iscariot, right? And he had few good points, right? But it had an ex fella that was there, and he was saying Judas Iscariot's purpose was to betray the Lord, and he died and he went back up into heaven. And he said, nah, you believe? The next fella said, you believe you went up into heaven? I say, hey, remember just last week I told you all, no matter how we bad or something a person is, all spirits goes back up to the heavens. So yes, Judas Iscariot fulfilled his duty. He got punished and he went back up. There is no such thing as free will when you go into the scriptures, right? Proverbs 20, Proverbs 21, Jeremiah 7:23, around there. Alright, there is no such thing as free will. The Most High, and I brought it out, is at Job 33 verse 16, somewhere around there. Alright, the Lord seals your instructions in you while you are sleeping. Alright, so let's see why the earth going through what it's going through. Alright, verse 4. The earth mourneth and fadeth away. We seeing that going on right about now. The earth is getting weaker. The earth is fading away. The world languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. Who is the haughty people? Mainly Esau Edom. All these other nations have learned of her pride. Alright, even our people, they are proud. But what? All the Most High is taking pride away from the earth, because the way how the Most High have Esau Edom working is to actually
oppress the earth and the inhabitants of the earth. People who was once healthy and proud, however the case is it's being taken away from them. That's why you see that there's an uproar of the people right about now in the earth. Alright? The earth is also defiled under the inhabitants thereof because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinances, broken the everlasting covenant. Right? Therefore had the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. And this is going to come in the near future. So what? It says that they change the ordinances. And the silly thing about it is, when you go to these pastors, they only could teach you part of the Bible. Matter of fact, they don't. Right? They speak from their own heart, from their own mind. They will never go through the whole book. Alright? And only because of the surfacing of the Hebrew Israelites, which are the true heirs of the kingdom, the true heirs of the understanding of the scriptures, arise. That is why you see some of them actually trying to dive a little deeper into the Bible. But the most they do is teach some kind of prosperity doctrine. You understand? So, let me go into Romans 7. Let's see what the book of Romans 7 says. Alright? When you go into the laws are good. Alright? Oh, get a shock today. Alright, so this is Romans 7, verse 12. Right? It says, Romans 7, verse 12. Wherefore, the law is holy, and the commandment holy, and just, and good. It is separate, it's clean. Right? That is the words of the Most High. Right? The laws of the Most High are about Shem Yoshai. Wherefore, the law is holy, and the commandment holy, and just, and good. Right? Let me jump to verse 16. If then I do which I would not, I consent unto the law that it is good. You understand? You consent unto the law that it is good. Right? Because guess what? It have that war inside your body, so you always have to go to the law of the Most High Bashem Yoshai. You understand? To see whether what you're doing is right or wrong, because of that constant war in the flesh. You might want to do something so bad, but guess what? When you all right, let me see case in point. Let me bring this law. Right? Leviticus 11 verse 7. Right? This is the Christmas meat. Leviticus 11 verse 7. And the swine, though he divided the hoof and be cloven footed, he chewed not the cud, he is unclean unto you. Right? Of their flesh shall he not eat, and their carcass shall he not touch, they are unclean to you. Right? So case in point. You might see somebody, you might be hungry, you might see somebody do a nice slab of barbecue pork, or you see a nice Christmas ham, pork ham set on the table. But as I said in a status that I once posted, you people claim to celebrate the birth of Christ, who is the Son of God, which never sinned. Right? But yet, one of your main dishes for celebrating this man who never sinned, who we ourselves supposed to walk in the example of him and try not to sin, one of your main meat is pork around the Christmas time, which eating pork is a sin. What is sin? Sin is disobedience. Sin is going against what somebody said. This is why he said in the book of Luke, what is this? Luke 20, why call ye me Lord, Lord, and do not the things that I say? You are honoring this man by dishonoring him with your meats, with your dainty meats. But just to go on to explain, if you go and look up, because this is what I'll challenge anybody to do, especially with the dietary laws. There are certain animals that the Most High prescribed to us as unclean. Now, in your head, you have to ask this question, well, why did God call it unclean? Not just because of what they eat. We know pork eats pigs eat a lot of nasty stuff, whatever the case is. They eat basically anything, but they do not excrete, right? They I think it's something like pus come through some part of the foot, whatever the case is, because they do not sweat. There's basically a walking garbage bin. All right. So chickens, certain animals we may eat, you might see they eating certain things, but they have a way of eliminating or processing, eliminating, take what you need. But with the swine, right? With the swine, it is basically a walking bag of worms. When you check up the anatomy of a pig, within the bones or whatever the case is, right, there's worms. Now, I can remember a point in time when I used to celebrate Christmas. You know, I cook. I go in and bake the ham for granny. You understand? So you might leave the pig or the ham actually inside the fridge, right? This ham will be inside of the fridge, and within not consuming this animal fast enough, without fly even laying eggs on top of this animal, if it is you open that fridge and look deep with inside of that animal, worms comes out of nowhere. And I heard other people experiment by putting either I think it's alcohol or either Coca-Cola on top of it and leaving it for like 2 hours, whatever the case is. They put it on lamb, they put it on chicken, they put it on pork. And within the matter of like 2 hours, you start to see worms coming up out of the flesh of the pig. All right? These, when you look up, one of the reasons why also a lot of people actually end up in the mental home or certain kind of sickness is because when you look up the diseases that consuming pork, especially undercooked pork, and pork have a certain worm that does not die no matter how much heat you put it under. It affects you. Many worms goes within your head and lay eggs underneath one of the strongest microscopes or x-rays or whatever the case is you may call it. I saw one where they did a pic, they take a picture, and inside of this person's brain, the certain parts of the brain where they show it to be dark, and certain parts was like the stars in the sky. And all those dots that look like stars was actually a nest of worms inside of your brain. Worms, these eating pork causes paralysis and all these different kind of diseases. It could also cause certain diseases could make you go mad. It have people that spend their life eating pork, and when they go and do a surgery, they pull out sacks of worms out of their belly. Fishes without fins and scales, they high in mercury. Mercury is a heavy metal towards the human body. This is why the Lord said, do not eat anything that do not have fins or scales. Certain things like shrimp, like crab, these things are not good for the human body, and this is one of the laws of the Most High. The Most High Yahweh Shem Yeshai know how he made you, and he know what is dangerous for the body and what is not dangerous for the body. Would you go and take arsenic and drink a bottle of arsenic? No, arsenic is very detrimental to a carbon-based organism, which we are carbon-based. You understand? When you look up like eating rabbits and these things have certain diseases that they suffer with that is transmissible from them to the human body. All right? Because we as people, we like to even shun the Chinese for eating dogs and whatever the case is because we see it as nasty, we see it as pet. But what about the pig? It is even more nasty and more dangerous than than dog. All right. Let me see what other laws that we could jump into. Leviticus 18. Let me start at verse 18. Right. Hey, all right. Yeah. So, Leviticus 18 verse. Let me start at verse 17. Right. Because these are laws and they make sense. All right. Leviticus 18 and verse 17. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of a woman and her daughter. Neither shalt thou take her son's daughter or her daughter's daughter to uncover her nakedness, for they are her near kinswoman. It is wickedness. Alright, because what? This is what you'll call bringing confusion into the world. Right? Because if you take a woman and her daughter, and let me say you go on to them and conceive, right? Because her daughter come like your granddaughter, right? And you get she pregnant, that is the child, the daughter, sister, plus when it is you get her pregnant, right? She had to, I don't even know how to put the whole thing because it's nothing but confusion. All right, it is basically unexplainable, and we have people doing these things in society. Right, men impregnating both women and the daughter, like nastiness. Right, it says, neither shall thou take a wife to her sister to vex her, to uncover her nakedness beside the other in her lifetime. Now the only reason this took place with Jacob is because Laban basically tricked Jacob, you understand, into going in unto Leah before Rachel, right? Which Laban broke his promise, right? Verse 19. Also thou shalt not approach unto a woman to uncover her nakedness, as long as she is put apart for her uncleanness. Because why? At this point in time, a woman is cleaning out herself. And you as a man now, you're going to have intercourse with a woman on her period, right? While she's cleaning out. You could get sick. You understand? And guess what? That is just something filthy. Something that is totally nasty. Alright? Why would you do that? You know? Moreover, thou shalt not lie carnally with thy neighbor's wife to defile thyself with her. You understand? Because what you're going in onto next man property, that come like stealing. Alright? And now we have these days, these little youth men, we have people just, well, girl, me don't care if you have a man, right? But guess what? Do so, don't like so. And jealousy is the rage of a man, because guess what? A lot of these men will go wrong other men, women, when they have their personal woman, and a next man go around their woman, they get vexed. So now you will see how it feels. Right? But what you'll want to do, you'll want to kill that person. You will want to take that person's life, but you doing it to other people. This is why the Most High established laws. These laws are not wicked, but these laws are just. But you see, men love darkness rather than light. So they don't want to hear the words of the Most High about Shem El Shai. This is why they will say, man, write the Bible. So what? We should just live as beasts upon the earth without any sense of wisdom, knowledge, or understanding, any form of uprightness then. Right? 22. Thou shalt not lie with mankind. As with womankind, it is abomination, because guess what? You're going against procreation. You understand? And that is something that is also filthy, man with man. Right? HIV and AIDS is predominantly amongst the homosexual community. Alright? Let me go again a little bit into some civil laws. Alright? Right? Some civil laws. It says, Exodus 20 verse 12. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which Yahweh thy power giveth thee. Right? Doesn't this seem like something that makes sense to you? That you should give respect and honor to your parents that brought you into the world, the people that labor to bring you up, to grow you up, to feed you, to some of them try their best to give you a better way of life. Do you think it is honorable, or do you think that it is wise or good that if your parents tell you something that you should dishonor them, that you should disrespect them? No. Alright? Verse 13, thou shalt not kill. This is simple, which is thou shalt not murder. Right? Because some people say, the same Bible will tell you, don't kill, say to kill this and to kill that. The most I could do is one, but murdering is a problem. Right? There's a difference. It's tala'a ratazak. Right? Which means thou shalt not murder, which means thou shalt not take an innocent life. If no man had done no harm, let bygones be bygones, as Buju Banton sing. Alright? Don't murder. Don't take away an innocent life. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Adultery is what? Going on onto another man's wife, to have sex with another man's wife. And these women did themselves by taking another man that is not your man. Alright? Thou shalt not steal. Which means what? Why it is that is it fit? If the Bible is so evil, I tell you don't steal, do you think it's fit, unless you yourself is a big thief, that you should go and take away something that does not belong to you? Somebody work hard 8 hours a day, 12 hours a day to achieve or to buy something that they really want or that they need. Do you think it's fit for somebody come out of nowhere and just go with the thing? If the laws of the Bible so bad, if the Bible so evil, right? Verse 16, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Do you think it is fit, or would you like anybody to be lying on you? To be accusing you of something wrongfully that you did not do, and that you are innocent, and guess what? There's great consequences for what they're accusing you for. That even that is serious jail time, lifetime, or that you will put to death. If the Bible is so evil, then why it's speaking against the things that we on a daily basis will call evil? Because we'll call somebody wicked if they do this unto us or unto someone we know. But look, the Bible warning against such actions. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. Right? Don't desire it. Don't lust over it. Because guess what? If you keep on having it in mind, then you will murder, you will steal, and you will do evil things by any means to acquire what belongs to your neighbor. So if the Bible is such an evil book that it should be disbanded, then what principles in life that we as human beings should live off of? Hey, let me tell you something. Only a fool says in his own heart that there is no God. A lot of our people want to live as beasts because they have no moral. Their conscience seared with a hot iron. Alright? You know, and basically I will end it off with that there. Alright, hope it's edifying towards you. Hopefully, like giving all praises and glory to Yahweh Hashem Shai, double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone that surely do well. Citation, teacher, and everyone at the Akim that push this gospel out in sincerity and truth. Brother Lamad, saying shalom to you for Lek Mawat Babal.